had such an iconic Survivor experience. I mean, honestly, let's start with some early Lulu days. What made you pull in Emily?
I always said it. I fell in love with her the day one, minute one, like a lot of other people. When she's screaming at Bruce on the mat, I was saying, this is not a 2023 person. This is a 2003 reality star in 2023. Like, this is unbelievable. Like Abby Maria, I wanted to just keep her in front of me, have her be my shield of just annoyance. And you know what? She grew a lot of in that time as well. I wanted to work with her. She wanted nothing to do with me for 3 days. But when she got humbled, when she hit rock bottom and almost went home, she started to realize, you know what? Caleb does actually want to work with me. And, that's where we got the chance to start building our relationship.
Okay, so you went to a couple iconic tribals here. Let's start with the one that Sabiyah is roasting an idol. I mean, was there a part of you that was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible television?
Unbelievable. And you know what? I knew Sabiyah was coming after me. So I was totally at peace because I was like, you know what? It's her or me, but this is going to be great no matter what. And that's probably when I started to I was so focused and so serious the whole time. That's when I started to have a little bit more fun because I was like, you know what? Tomorrow's not promised, right? And Sabiyah, I wish I took it as well as Sabiyah. She took it like such a champ on that exit. I wasn't doing chants or anything like that. I was like, Katura, what are you doing? Yeah, it was, in the moment when you have an epic tribal council, she was up in that voting booth for like 15 minutes. We were just like, this is crazy.
Right. Okay. So you did, we saw Emily give you a heads up, but you also kind of knew it was the decoy plan. So what helped you to realize Sabiyah and Sean actually were coming for you?
I was paranoid about Sabiyah since Brandon gave her the beware advantage. Because I'm looking at Sabiyah and I'm like, she has a lot of power in this tribe. Brandon gave her the beware advantage. She's working with her. Sean, I know, is working with her tight. I'm working with her. I'm like, man, if she wanted to, she can get rid of me anytime she pleases. That's why it became even more important to bring Emily in. Because bringing Emily in and knowing Sabiyah doesn't have a vote, if we could get out Brandon, I felt like I would at least have the power in the tribe to decide what would happen. Right. And so going into the next vote, there was a point that I thought about flipping on Emily only because the alternative would have meant going to rocks, right? Going to rocks with 15 people left. Okay. I was like, am I really going to do that for Emily? But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, you know what? I will never forgive myself if I go into the next tribal council, we vote out Emily, we lose again, which it's Lulu, easily could happen. And those two vote me out. This is the only chance I have to legitimately take control and have the numbers. So I didn't really matter what they did. I had already mentally made the decision that, I wanted to work with Emily and keep her. And then when she came frantic to me, that was because I think she was like, what are you actually going to do? That was the only time I actually got worried. I was like, I need to reassure Emily like crazy. And that's when we decided I wanted Sean and she wanted Sabiyah. But we ended up going with Sabiyah instead.
Okay.
Something I stay up at night thinking about.
You never know. At this Mercatory tribal, you've got the sense you're worried it's you, and your Hail Mary, it seemed like, was to call out Jay, Dee, and Julie. How do we feel about this now?
Hindsight's 2020. If you would have told me that in 12 hours you're going to be swapped over with the two girls that are, your shot in the dark is going to hit. And then the two people you called out are going to be literally on your split, and one of them's immune. And by the way, they also have their other closest ally in the game. Yeah, it looks pretty bad, right? But I would have bet anything that we would have done that split at 10, like Survivor history has shown, versus 12. And I really did think that, I knew who my numbers were. They probably weren't in it. And it was a calculated risk that failed. Is that fair to say?
It didn't necessarily fail. I mean, you did what you had to do. Right?
I think it bit me on this tribal council.
Maybe on this one. Yeah. I think it did help get Jay out on the next vote, right? I mean, my gosh, your shot in the dark is safe. Oh my gosh, amazing. But then you see every single vote for you. Talk me through this roller coaster.
Well, the craziest part is that nobody ever thinks the shot in the dark is going to work, right? So everyone knows it's coming, but no one, or I think people know it could happen, but they don't know if it's actually going to work. And so people are so concerned that their vote's going to stand out. I had three people telling me to play my shot in the dark. Emily, Jake, and Sifu. And then in addition, I had Kelly and Katura being like, listen, the votes are coming for you. We're trying to save it. But they didn't say your shot in the dark, but they also didn't circle back with me at the very end of the night. You know what I mean? And so I had a very good feeling that I was playing it, and that me and Emily had a code word lasagna that if she was going to say it at tribal, it might have actually, if it ever actually flipped. Yeah, I felt like there was an opportunity there. I kind of wish I pressed a little bit more to maybe put a vote, maybe not on Jay, maybe on somebody else a little bit more strategic. I just thought Jay was the most viable candidate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So this last tribal, how were you feeling going into it? Like, what was the plan you were expecting?
The plan was a 3-3 split. And you know what? Why wouldn't I think that this would work? I've been throwing Hail Marys for weeks. You know what I mean? Like the amount of times that every single time, like, I don't know, like my name's being said and everything else. I really honestly thought that I invested a lot of Katura. I wanted to work with her, and I just thought, Katura, this is our chance, to work together. I understand why she was like, you know what, I can't trust everybody else at Bello, and if you're like, where do you stand with them? But I was hoping she would say, listen, I'm on the bottom of Bello too. You just saw what happened last tribal council, right? Like we need each other, and this is our chance, because if we can get it on right on this next tribal council, we can have some agency in the game, is basically what my pitch was to her.
Yeah. I mean, I bought it. I was shocked she flipped.
Yeah. It is what it is, we'll see how it plays out for everybody, right?
Right.
But I felt like it was like the first time I saw daylight since the merge hit, and I felt like we were so close.
What was this Bruce dynamic? What was happening
Crazy,
here?
isn't it? I said it earlier. I was on the Survivor Amazon, Bruce's firewood bitch protocol. I was doing everything the guy says. I knew that he needed to be the guy, and I couldn't have wanted to be less the guy more than anything else, right? I think ultimately what hurt our relationship is he was really insecure that I was getting close with a lot of the bellows that he was aligned with. Even as much as I was giving him trust and information and everything else, he just always was concerned that I don't know, that they liked me more than him. I don't know what it was, but I just felt like it was in our self-interest to protect each other. And it's like this classic reality TV show mistake. Do we take out the person who's maybe working with us, or the person who's definitely not working with us? And he decided to try and take the person who's maybe working with them. And I think ultimately, poor strategy in hindsight.
So we saw you really working with everyone, a one-on-one relationship with everyone, but who were you truly loyal to?
It's a great question. I felt like Emily obviously had my most loyalty, because we just have proven trust to each other again and again. After that, by the end of the game, I felt like Jake had proven a lot of trust with me. We had the Bop Bros Alliance. We had been working together. He told me to play my shot in the dark. He really was working like, hey, talk to Julie now, talk to this person. So I felt like he had really climbed up the ranks for me. I also looked at Kelly and Katura. I trusted Kelly a lot. She's probably the best player I always felt like that I got a chance to play with. But she's also a threat, and I was like, I know she'll cut me when the time comes. But I was like, but if she has no options, she will work with me as well. And I thought we could have used each other, and I know I was sure she did too. And then finally, Katura. I love Katura as an ally. She was kind of like my new Emily. But I also felt like she had the least agency out of all my allies. Like she was the least amount of personal relationships outside of me to be able to gather information to create any sway, and that was the challenge. For me.
Yeah.
Plus, she was also like one of the people who was going to be considered maybe less of a shield as well.
Yeah.
And so I want to definitely keep shields around.
Kaleb, you were so fun to watch. Bummed you're out already, but excited you're on jury.
Nobody wants to be on the jury, but everyone's happy to make it there. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, always a pleasure.